Hello everyone, watch this review here with a look at Hasbro's kind of nondescript Transformers collectible figurines and 3D cards line, or at least one bag from it. Usually only test the waters with one package, so this is the one. Now again, despite these sort of generic, weird sort of third-party look to the packaging, this is an official Hasbro product. You'll notice the product information all across here. Hasbro in general hasn't had the greatest amount of success with their blind box items. I mean, they've tried things with the micro mugs. They had this stuff with the G.I. Joes. Actually, their only real success, I think, has probably been through Wizards of the Coast, because I know they do some blind box like D&D stuff, which has to be successful because they keep on doing it, right? This, sort of iffy. I first learned about it when I was in my local Target, picked this up for $3. You'll notice that there's no rarity chart or like character images on the packaging, but at the box of the store they had a really tiny, product images. Of course, inside the box we get the character sheet, or rarity. Well, it's not a rarity chart, it's just a checklist. Unless otherwise stated, I assume these are all probably equally rare. I was sort of surprised to learn this was broken up into a Series 1, Series 2, and all the series are sort of listed right here. Just sort of a weird way to do it. And even weirder is the way that they sort of broke it up. If you notice, the series itself is broken up into G1 Transformers, Transformers Prime, and the Bayformers, the ones from the Transformers films by Michael Bay. But the way that they split the series up is they just took this top line here with all the Optimuses, top line of this, then Soundwave, that's your Series 1. And you took Bumblebee from here, and all this, that's your Series 2. So, I don't know, it's just a really wonky way to do it. You'd think they'd have a more equal way of distribution. This way, though, if you care more about G1 characters, you're more likely to get a G1 character by doing this. Then you're more likely to get either a Transformers Prime or a Bayformer by going the Series 2. So, the actual quality of these, though, not that impressive. I think the ones that sort of turned out the best are Shockwave. That's more because the character doesn't so much have a face, he just has that ginormous eye. But all the Shockwaves look pretty cute. The rest, their faces are kind of eh. Now, knowing what I do now, I might have been tempted to pick up a Series 2 instead of Series 1, but, you know, I've always got to go with the Series 1 for a chance at Starscream, and as luck would have it, I managed to get a Starscream, the G1 Deco. The only downside here is that they opted for a silver instead of a white, so it's a little bit less traditional and all that. It's also not as flattering, but hey, whatever. The face looks a little wonky, like the proportions are a bit off. I mean, the proportions in general for all this stuff, just really not that great looking. But hey, you know, it's Starscream, so I'm not too mad. Of course, the Optimus actually looks pretty neat. Yeah. Now, these figures don't come alone, they also come with this tiny little stand. In this case, it also says D14G, which I'm not sure what it means. Unless it's sort of a placement for where this card's supposed to be. The other thing is a card which looks better than the figure itself. Actually, the card's listed as 4 of 30. And yeah, I'm not going to figure out what these things actually mean. But again, you know, the card looks pretty decent. On the flip side, we have a lenticular image of Optimus Prime. It's this sort of 3D thing here, where they've sort of broken it up to give a more 3D-ish look as opposed to this more traditional lenticular thing where, you know, it either represents motion or it's like a character transforming on these cards. I don't know if you remember them, they were all the rage at one point. Can't remember if it's like the 90s or the 80s or something. though I expect something like this has probably been around for quite a while. Not a terrible item. As far as all things considered, though, probably not the greatest blind-bagged item. I mean, $3 is sort of typical for basically these really low-end blind-bagged items that Hasbro's put out. That's what they also charge the micro mugs. And if you ignore the size, you know, $3 isn't bad for a blind-bagged item in general. However, these figures are only about 1.5 inches tall, so, you know, here's a little size comparison against the, was it the Hot Shots? Or Bot Shots Starscream. You know, they're the ones that you sort of hit in the front and they transform to the robot. These Hasbro had sort of given a $4 list price, which, you know, when you compare the two, I mean, I can totally understand the $4 for this. If you'd just been selling this by itself without having, like, the blind bag, you know, even $3 would probably seem like a rip-off, but wherever you have a blind bagged item, for some reason, you know, it just seems a little bit nicer to charge, or not a little bit nicer, but it seems a little bit more acceptable to charge the extra money. And, you know, half the fun with these isn't so much the figure, but just seeing who you get. And, you know, even if the figure kind of sucks, you know, sometimes that's all you really need. I'm not sure what I'll do with him, but yeah, it's sort of cool just to have another Starscream lying around. You can never have too many of those, right? At any rate, this has been a look at Starscream from Series 1 of Transformers. Really awfully named series. It doesn't have a, I guess I'll just call it the Transformers like blind bag series or whatever going forward, because collectible figurines and 3D collector puzzle pieces, collector cards, whatever. That's not a real name. Yeah, Hasbro really needs to work on the branding for this sort of stuff. At any rate, until next time, folks.